Scoreless ending for the Washington Commanders.
Here comes the Hail Mary, and the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle!
With the game clock
Good fucking morning.
Oh man, coach. Just very fast.
Yep.
Last week, when we were making the predictions, and you dared me to pick the Commanders over the Bears, as if you were questioning my Bears fandom, my integrity as a Bears fan. Right? You see, I got all my Bears gear today. And you questioned all of that. And you dared me to pick the Commanders. And in my heart of hearts, I wanted to pick them because I love Jaden Daniels so bad. But because of our fans, who I know who are sensitive Bears fans, and because I did not want to deal with a social media barrage of people being like, oh, he's not a real Bears fan. I said the Bears would win. But boy, did it bring me some slight joy.
Oh, of course it did.
That Jaden Daniels was able to pull out that victory, because I know for sure, had the Bears won, I would have not heard the end of this Caleb Williams love affair that people have right now. Oh, but is it quickly dissipating?
No.
But we're not. We'll save that for later. We'll save that for later because we're coming.
Will.
We're coming to this.
Yep.
But you had a wonderful experience on Sunday outside of the Bears game. You got to attend a very cool high school athletic showcase for basketball for varsity high school athletes, called the Chi-Town Showcase. I went last year. It was a dope experience, and it's orchestrated by the Coach Moo, who is the head of Universal Varsity Basketball. And he has his own run called Exposure Runs, where essentially he helps a lot of athletes in Chicago who may be trending, obviously, in the right direction, but just getting a little overlooked by some of these coaching prospects and maybe missing out on opportunities to get scholarships. So this is like I won't say a last chance, but it's kind of like one of those last premier runs that they get an opportunity to be in front of a lot of scouts, college coaches from the D3 level all the way up to D1. How was that experience for you?
It was amazing. It was such great basketball being played. Just because he has 2 showcases a year. By the way, shout out my guy Coach Moo in Exposure Runs. You do a great thing for the kids, and you know we've been starting off a pretty good way at Universal. But he does a lot for the kids, and it's a lot of competition. But the great thing about the Chi-Town Showcase is he has 2 of them a year. Okay. He has the one in October that just passed on this following Sunday, and he has one in roughly like March, April. Just for unsigned seniors. So that's the one I think you attended last year with one of our guys. So
that's the one I went to.
That's the one where a lot of college coaches do show up because like that's their last chance of seeing any unsigned seniors that might be able to make their roster, offer them scholarships and whatnot.
So this was a different run.
Completely different because we had freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. We had all underclassmen.
So this was just a run.
Yes. But it was very organized. Like we had one of the kids, Ethan Vall. He's number 3 in the state, actually, like top 50 in the country for his class. Absolute baller of a kid. As you see in the picture, I've got a couple other kids. That's AJ Morgan out of Vernon Hills. I forget a kid's name here, but he's from he plays breakaway basketball, the AAU team. I had Dante Montgomery out of Oakland, straight hooper. No, it was amazing. And, you know, there was, I think, 10 to 15 college coaches at the event. So Some of them were pulling some of the players aside, like AJ Morgan was actually talking to a couple of the coaches I saw.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal thing to see for these high school kids, especially like the underclassmen.
Mhm.
Like we had a couple of guys, like I said, Ethan Vall out of Oswego. There's a kid called Brent Taylor. I think he's a sophomore. He goes to Homewood Flossmoor.
Okay.
Absolute baller. Like there's so many kids that might not have had the exposure before. Ethan Vall obviously did because he's one of the top kids in the state.
Mhm.
But kids like Brent Taylor, kids like even like AJ Morgan. We had a couple of kids out of state. Like we had a kid from Southern Florida. We had a kid from Philly.
Who traveled all the way to Chicago for this?
Yeah.
Wow,
just for the event.
That means it's getting big.
Yeah, it's getting really big.
It's getting big.
Yeah, and it was it's a great experience and a great moment for them to showcase some skill in front of some college coaches.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is live streamed. So if there's any coaches that couldn't attend the event, they could watch the whole entire stream. You know what I mean? See the whole entire event. So it was definitely a lot of fun. I had the privilege of coaching, as we see on the screen.
Yeah.
So fun. We had a little tournament at the end where we got to draft essentially our teams, and we got to coach them up a bit. I was initially led to the thought that it was going to be more like laid back, get guys in type of thing. Once we got started,
it's too competitive.
That thing got so heated.
Yeah.
Like I was coaching against. You can't see him in the picture, but he coaches at Shy Prep, which is the prep school in Chicago, where a lot of these kids, top kids that are looking to play college ball go to school. You know what I mean? That's strictly a basketball school. So I was coaching against him, and man, he had his own assistant coach there. And I'm like, holy shit! Like, you guys are for real.
Yeah.
You guys are for real.
No, they came for real. They came ready to go.
But no, regardless, awesome event. Again, shout out to my brother, Coach Moo, and Exposure Runs for organizing the whole thing. Had some great food. Supplied everybody with drinks, all that stuff. It was just a phenomenal event, and it was hosted at, as you see on the screen, at 167 North Green Street, which is a very popular court in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah, it's a court that a lot of athletes in Chicago rent out. A lot of athletes from across the nation, when they come to Chicago and they want to just pick up a run or work out, is one of the gyms that they rent out. Yeah, it's a phenomenal gym. I like I said, I went there last year for the different run, the one where it is for about the unsigned seniors. Yeah. I didn't know he did the two, which means Coach Moo, holla at me for this one. I want to go to this one.
Yes, sir.
I want to go to both, but I want to get this experience too. But yeah, that's dope, bro. Yeah. I'm very happy that you was able to experience. So now, technically, we've experienced different ones. I've experienced the unsigned one, and you got to experience this one. So hopefully, we get the flip flop next time.
I'm sure one of our guys, Easy, he'll get invited back to the unsigned senior showcase. Okay, obviously, if he doesn't sign, so I'll be sure to talk to Moo, or you can reach out to him.
I'll reach out to him.
We'll get you there.
We'll coordinate it.
We'll get you there.
All right. Well, moving on from that, I'm glad at least that was a good part of your Sunday.
Yeah, and then I left the event. It was like the second quarter of the Bears game, and I got home for the fourth quarter. I see Caleb Williams drive down the field, and blah, 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 blah. Everything happened. But we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
You cook it too early. I want you to save all of that energy. I want you to save it for when we talk about it.
You ain't ready for that, Coach.
Because, Lord, I am waiting on you to talk about it so I could just sit back here and enjoy and laugh. But, yeah, let's just get really quickly into what happened in Week 8. Good football. Surprising football.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the biggest surprises was the Cleveland Browns beating the Baltimore Ravens.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, nobody had that coming.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of impressive. Green Bay squeaking away with a win against Jacksonville. That was also a surprise. Did not see that coming, but we know Jordan Love got hurt in that game.
Again, yeah.
So that could have made the game tougher than what it needed to be. Kansas City beat the Raiders. Not the greatest debut for D-Hop, but Kansas City is still undefeated. They're finding ways to win the games. And for that, all you can do is kind of just be like, all right. And then Dallas tried to make it a game towards the end when they were getting their asses kicked for the most part. And then just like in Dallas fashion, they get the ratings going because they go in the fourth quarter and start playing football. And everybody's like, okay, tune back in. The Dallas Cowboys is coming back. And then they lose.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Outside of those few games, were there any more surprises or anything that shocked you?
I mean, the Cardinals Dolphins game, we got to see Tua come back, which was surprising on my end. I did not think he was going to come back this season. But once I
should not have.
I agree. I agree. But I mean, once we started getting reports, I'm like, oh shit, like he's gonna be back soon. You know what I mean? And it was surprising, and he came back and he played well. I think he went 28 for 30. Which, by the way, coming back after not playing football for a couple of weeks and throwing the ball 38 times is pretty fucking crazy. But that's their offense, right? That's the Mike McDaniel offense. That's what they do. And that's why they were finally able to put up like 27 points on the board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Marvin Harrison had himself a day.
Mm-hmm.
He's been looking great so far. So, you know, shout out the Cardinals, who the Bears play next week.
Yeah, which should be a victory.
That's a 305 game. It's also like in one of those flex spots.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to mention that Patriots-Jets game. The Jets losing again and going 2-6? 2-6, right?
As much as I want to talk about the Jets, fuck the Jets because fuck Aaron Rodgers.
Just fuck Aaron Rodgers.
I've already said everything I needed to say about Aaron Rodgers. I've said everything that I needed to say about the Jets. We all know how I feel about the firing of Robert Saleh and how I think that this team is just completely going down the drain. And there's nothing that can salvage the Jets season outside of them realizing that they traded for the wrong quarterback. They just have to accept that they traded for a quarterback who is actually over the hill now and is surviving off of the laurels of what he did at his older franchise. That's it.
Yeah.
And until they accept that, they're going to still suck. Absolutely. And they're not going to have a plan. But our game. Our game. Who's cooking and who should stay the out the kitchen? Number one, let's go to basketball real quick.
Yep.
Paolo Banchero.
Oof.
Boy. I don't know what he been eating. I don't know what he been drinking. I don't know what parties he's not been going to. I don't know the workout regimen that he's been under. I don't know the trainer that he's been working with. But whatever the hell this kid's been doing over the summer, oh my God, it is showing up this season. Just Monday, my man had a 50-piece. 50-piece nuggets.
Not only that, he had 37 going into halftime.
Oh, my God. I feel like the Magic, you know what's crazy about the Magic? And I hate this for them, but I guess they always have to appreciate this. They always find themselves being able to get like generational, maybe once-in-a-lifetime talent.
Yeah.
From Penny Hardaway to Shaq, now Paolo.
Dwight Howard.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they always find a way to kind of just turn the wheel on being able to get these type of players. Now, do they always stay? No. But nevertheless, Orlando gets to get these type of players. And boy, is it a wonderful thing to see Paolo start this season off like this, because there was some concern about his ability to be a elite player. Like, people know that he was going to be good, but there was concerns about his shooting ability, his passing ability, his ability to make teammates better, just a lot of different things like that.
Yeah.
You know, the standard things that players go through before people finally start giving them flowers. And year two, all of that is put to dead. Year two. Like, there's no more concerns about whether or not he can be a complete scoring threat, if he can control a team, if he can help his team, if he can make teammates better. That's proven. He's a franchise guy.
Yeah, absolutely. You pretty much hit on all the points that I wanted to cover. Just in these, I think they've played 3 games so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
The guy gets to the basket whenever he wants. Like, there's no stopping him with going to the basket, which really makes me question how many Wheaties he was eating a day. You know what I mean? Like, he was not missing a day of Wheaties. But no, I agree with you. He's looked phenomenal. That's why he's on this portion of Who's Cooking.
Yep.
Because he's been cooking, and me and you have the privilege of going to watch him tonight. Obviously, we'll be sitting in different areas because we're going with our own parties, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this game and how this matchup will go. Because as we will discuss, we have another player who's cooking, but we'll wait on him.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about this player.
Mm-hmm.
This guy who gets trolled a lot for his pregame speeches. He's eating the W's, coach. He's just, he's a character. That's what I'll say about Jameis. But the thing about him is that his intentions are pure. His intentions are pure, and he really believes in the things that he's saying and how he can try to galvanize his teammates to try to go out there and do the best he can. But Jameis Winston, coach, has been sitting on that Cleveland Browns bench, probably just salivating, just waiting for an opportunity. And maybe not. I could be wrong, right? The notion or the belief that every backup quarterback just can't wait until they get that shot is not true. Some of them really enjoy being a journeyman backup quarterback that never has to take the hits but cashes in $1 million to $2 million a year.
Right.
Just be ready. There's a lot of backup quarterbacks that enjoy that. But Jameis Winston came out and did the most improbable thing possible. In his first game, starting for the Cleveland Browns, he threw for 335 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and he beat the Baltimore Ravens. What a goddamn storyline. It's almost like you can almost say it's like a Jameis Winston movie.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if his career was to end today, not in a tragic way, but if he just decided, or if Deshaun Watson was to come back and return because he only had to miss one game, and then Jameis Winston just kind of retired. That ending moment would be so fire to a short docu series or a short documentary. That would be so fire.
What could have been?
What exactly? What did you think of Jameis Winston's performance against the Baltimore Ravens?
I thought he absolutely balled out, and I don't think it was surprising even for some people because obviously the Browns have been on a very down year.
Yeah.
They just traded away Amari Cooper, so all their offensive weapons have kind of been degraded in a way. But I mean, Nick Chubb is back.
Okay.
They've been playing better football as of late. I mean, they just beat the Ravens, so obviously they're playing pretty good football. But I mean, I think we could say the NFL fan base is pretty high on Jameis Winston. He's a very likable guy. He has his cringy moments, you know what I mean? Like all the pregame stuff, postgame stuff, all that stuff. But he's a leader. He's a leader amongst men. That's the type of guy you want quarterbacking your team. And it won't be surprising if he finishes the rest of the season and he still plays somewhat above average.
I mean, he's an NFL quarterback.
Right. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a starting job somewhere. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if we see him with a different organization next year. That wouldn't shock me one bit. You
know what? I can agree with you. I can see him, let's say, for instance, Joe Flacco decides to,
hang it up, right?
To hang it up. I can see the Indianapolis Colts bringing Jameis over and allowing Anthony Richardson to get some more time.
He'd be the perfect mentor for Anthony Richardson. Because
Jameis could teach Anthony everything about the highs and lows of having it all, losing it all, getting it back and going through it. Jameis would definitely be the one to kind of help him get that mental edge back.
And I feel like they're so similar as well in their play style. Like Jameis Winston is a big quarterback. He's pretty mobile, you know what I mean? Not anymore, but he was when he was
first
younger.
Came in, he's more like, to me, Jameis is like the black Ben Roethlisberger.
Nowadays. Nowadays.
Yeah.
But when he first came
without the off the field stuff.
Got you.
I just want to make sure I say that.
Yeah.
All right, Jameis, in case you're listening, which I know you're listening because this is the greatest podcast that is out right now talking about sports.
Yep.
So I know you're listening, Jameis, so I want to make sure you know I'm not comparing you to Big Ben in that facet.
Right. No, but it was good to see. I've always been like a pretty decent like a fan of Jameis. Obviously I don't own a jersey or anything like that, but it's nice to see him come out and ball. You know what I mean? He's a great quarterback. I always liked his game, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see him get a shot again.
Hell yeah. And then for our last guy who's cooking, who I'm excited to say this about because I've been on this train.
Yep. Me too.
Sometimes feeling like it's been solo
Mhm.
because I've had to argue this with so many people. But Zach LaVine, Zachary, he's been playing good, coach. Now, I know there's been a few games where he's had high turnovers, but in both of those games that he had high turnovers, it is directly correlated to the fact that Kobe White had low scoring outputs.
Right.
So I'm assuming that Zach felt like he had to press the issue in order to squeeze out a W, which caused him to do things too fast, too sporadic, because he was trying to up his scoring so that we could potentially have a chance to win. But in the games where Kobe White actually showed up to play, instead of scoring 9 and 10 points, Zach LaVine's turnovers were very low. Maybe 1 to 2 or even 0.
Yeah.
But his scoring output has been steady. 25 to 26 a night. He's shooting about 55 to 53% from the field. He's shooting about 42 to 45% from 3. Free throw percentage could be a lot better. That I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like the free throw percentage. But he's rebounding, he's helping there. He's being active in the lanes. Sometimes he still gets lost on defense on the weak side when it's not somebody that has the ball and he's not just playing man-to-man. But his man-to-man defense has been great when he's had to do it. I mean, for the most part, he's the guy that's been defending some of the top players on the other team.
Yeah.
I don't know if people have been noticing that.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's such a narrative on Zach LaVine not playing defense, and a lot of times fans of the game who may not really be watching things and just kind of hearing what these reporters and media pundits are putting out there and just listening to these narratives, they say that Zach LaVine doesn't play defense or things like that. Newsflash, for this season, he's been the guy that's been checking the other team's best perimeter player. He's been the one that's been doing it. And then when he's not doing it and there's a substitution, it usually goes to Ayo.
Yeah.
Or sometimes Lonzo, but I don't think they're stressing Lonzo as much as they used to on the defensive end. So it's Zach and Ayo who's taking the number one assignment for the guys across from them, who's probably the best player on the perimeter for the other team. And that is amazing to see because it's setting a tone. And I believe personally that the Bulls will be either 4-0 or 3-1 had Kobe not had those 2 bad games.
I can see that.
So, I mean, what are you looking at? What are you seeing from Zach?
So, kind of just going off of your point about like kind of like the narrative of him not playing defense. I mean, I think you summed it up perfectly where I think we've seen it in the past. He's kind of maybe lacked that grit on defense, kind of like the awareness, the want to of playing defense. But I mean, this year, like you mentioned, he's sticking some of the best guys. Like against the Thunder, who was guarding Shea? It was Zach.
Who was guarding Dame against Milwaukee?
Right.
Zach.
It was Zach. So, like, that's why I love to see that. You know what I mean? Like, that. I feel like that's just how the NBA should function in general. You should have your best guy guarding the other best guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what people pay to watch. You know what I mean? That's why people go to games, is to see these superstars go at it. Like, I'm not here to watch Dalen Terry guard Damian Lillard. You know what I mean?
Really.
Like,
not really.
Like, I'm here to watch Zach LaVine guard Damian Lillard. Like, I'm here to watch Ayo guard Damian Lillard. Like, that's the whole point, and it's so good to see. And again, like with the shooting splits, I think last season alone, granted he didn't play a decent chunk in the season. There was only 2 instances, and it's actually a statistic that there was a play where he would pass the ball, relocate, get the ball back, and shoot a 3. Only twice he was able to make shots off of that. This year alone, in that Memphis game that just passed, he had 4 of those. Yeah. So I think that's just showing how like the offense and how much more comfortable he is now that he finally has like a true point guard. You know what I mean? Finally back with him.
Or just a system that is not built around
like
catering.
I agree with that, but like
one guy.
Even when DeMar was here, when Lonzo was healthy, Zach was getting still a decent amount of touches.
Yeah, but it still wasn't as fluid as it is in the half court. See, the thing about it was that when Lonzo was here with DeMar, a lot of Zach's scoring came in transition.
Yes.
So it was a lot of pushing the ball forward, and Zach would just kind of do his thing on the run. But in the half court, the ball still kind of stuck with DeMar. Now, even in the half court, the ball is boom, boom, moving here, boom, swing over here, swing there. It's going back and forth. It's rotating, weak side, strong side. Zach is getting the ball. He's cutting and getting the ball to Vucevic, moving somewhere else, coming around, going baseline, coming back up off a pin down, coming back up over here, cross screen over here. It's just a lot of different things that Billy is doing, utilizing everybody. Yeah. Everybody is being able to get a chance to get the ball in position of scoring opportunities.
Even Julian Phillips, who didn't even get a lot of minutes last year, and I really wish he did because I really liked his game coming out of college. He was still like a very raw athlete, but there was a lot of potential and athleticism to utilize, and it was very sad to see. He didn't get any bump last year, but he's playing this year, and he's making corner shots. You know what I mean? He's playing his role. He's an athlete. He's dunking on guys. Like, that's what you like to see.
Yeah.
And getting back to Zach, I think it is definitely an accreditation to Billy Donovan kind of changing the system since DeMar DeRozan is out. But also, I think him getting Lonzo back and also Josh Giddey coming to the team.
Oh, yeah, it just enhances what Billy wants to do.
He is so much more comfortable cutting off of the ball because he knows they're going to look at him.
Yeah.
Compared to maybe Kobe trying to pass that ball, he knows Kobe's going to try and go get his before he might look at that cutter. You know what I mean? So, like, I could see Zach LaVine is in a such like happier and better mindset now about actually cutting hard to the basket, trying to seal somebody down low.
Just playing basketball.
He'll get
coach.
rewarded. He'll get rewarded. Which didn't happen last year because who was it last year getting those touches? DeMar DeRozan.
And it's not as simple as it is the cutting, but it's more so that the fact that these guys are actually playing basketball collectively as a team. Yeah. It's not this ISO game where you give one guy the ball on the mid post and everybody just kind of stands out and offers spacing, and only if there's a double team do you think you're going to get the ball, but that's only for you to just catch and shoot. And it's like, it's a very simple way to have an offense, but it's very easy to guard. If you just rotate properly, you can always put a contest against each of those shots, even if the ball swings around. Yeah. So it's like, but when you have player and ball movement, you cause the defense to have to communicate one, and then they have to match up. They're not always going to be able to match up with all that movement going on, so you're always able to find a mismatch. Now, I will say this. One of the things that I'm not liking, but this is not to just talk about the Bulls, because we're going to get off of this. Yeah. But I'm not liking how they're not finding the mismatches for Vucevic consistently.
Yes.
Now, that I think will get better over time, but right now that is a problem. But moving on, my other favorite part of this game, who should stay the fuck out the kitchen? Number one on who should stay the fuck out the kitchen, we have Tyreke goddamn Stevenson.
You mind if I take this, coach?
Yeah, that's you. That's you. That's you.
Tyreke, if you're listening.
Because we know you are. Because this is the best goddamn sports podcast in America and will be globally. Keep going.
I've always been a fan of you. Coming out of Miami, I thought you were a great talent. In your rookie year, you showed great signs, especially towards the end of the season. You showed grit, you showed athleticism, you showed knowledge of the game, but you also had a decent chunk of undisciplined actions. A lot of penalties last season, and that's why teams, anytime we play, who are they throwing the ball to? Tyreke Stevenson's side or assignment. A lot of the time.
He also has Jalen Johnson on the other side.
Right, which obviously they're not going to throw to Jalen, and when they do, they get tested, obviously. But they've been really, really going after Tyreke Stevenson this year because they know he's undisciplined. And if there was any clip I could have chose or any moment of this guy's career to show that undisciplinedness, it was what the fuck happened this last Sunday. Not only the Hail Mary, which there's 5 seconds left on the clock, and he's there talking shit to Bears fans like, yeah, let's fucking go. Yeah, what? And then the Bears fans in the stands had to tell him to turn around and go play. That can't happen, especially under Matt Eberflus, who is all about accountability. Where the fuck is the accountability in that? And like, there was another moment in that game. Sorry for me yelling. I'm just so fucking passionate about my Bears, but like, there was a moment, I think either on that, not the same drive, but either the drive before or the second to last drive before that, where Terry McLaurin gets a catch down the field, who Tyreek Stevenson was guarding man-to-man. Terry McLaurin gets up, starts talking shit, and then Tyreek Stevenson starts talking shit right back, and then they throw the flag. Another 10 yards on sportsmanlike conduct. Like, that is shit that just cannot happen in these types of games. You got to understand, the Washington Commanders are one of the premier teams in football right now because of Jaden Daniels, because of Cliff Kingsbury. They've been having a great year, and it's great to see. You know, Washington being a good team is always a good thing for the NFL. Like, when RG3 was here, it was fucking great. You know what I mean? They got their new RG3. You know what I mean? But I think better. But I think better.
Don't compare him to RG. I mean, nothing against Robert Griffin III, because when he first came into the league,
but you could compare the rookie years though.
He was an absolute monster.
Yeah, but
when he first came in, but this kid he's. I keep trying to tell everybody who he is.
I get you. No,
he's Randall Cunningham 2.0.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Nah,
I like what I'm seeing though. Obviously, I like what I'm seeing. He's doing great. But again, Tyreek Stevenson. You had a horror of a game, like a bad game against the Commanders. Terry McLaurin was cooking the fuck out of you. He was in the kitchen, really. You know what I mean? And he was getting you the fuck out of there. And you have the audacity to talk shit? You were getting cooked all fucking game. Who are you guarding? Jalen Johnson was the one locking people up. You have no right to talk at all. And you're going to stand here and start hyping up Bears fans when they still got a Hail Mary. And we'll get into the play that happened before that because, oh my God, that shit pissed me the fuck off. And the Hail Mary in and of itself. We'll get to that though. But Tyreek Stevenson, you need to figure it out because I really like you as a player. But man, like, your attitude and respect to the game has to change. Has to. Now, because we're not going to have this same situation in 3 years or 4 years when we got to pay Caleb money and we got to pay Roma Dunze money. We're not going to have the cap that we have now. We won't be able to get all these guys back. That's my spiel.
That was beautiful.
No, it fucking wasn't. Like, I'm so mad. I'm so mad.
If I was more sentimental and sensitive, it would have brought tears to my eyes.
Fuck you, coach.
All I'm going to say is this. Yes, it was a bad look that I think has been overblown because it's easy to give Tyreek Stevenson the scapegoat for the Bears' loss. But there are a lot of things.
Of course, it's not that one player. It's not that one player.
Instead of this one last minute, but it's easy to blame. It's easy to target him because he made himself such a bullseye.
And on the contrary, just to sum it up real quick, and we'll move on. But like, if the Bears won this game, the narrative would be completely different about the Bears in whole. Like, it would be Matt Eberflus did a great job.
Here they come. The Bears are cooking.
They held this high scoring offense to 12 points.
Yes.
They didn't score a touchdown until that Hail Mary. Tyreek Stevenson was talking shit and still made a play on the ball.
Yep.
Like, that would be the talk right now, but it's not, unfortunately, because of what happened.
Yeah.
So.
All right. You good? We'll come back to it so you can get more off your chest.
I'm not good. I'm not good.
All right. Who else should stay the fuck out the kitchen? The Dallas Cowboys.
America's team.
Look, I'm going to keep this quick. You guys suck.
You're bad. You're bad.
That's it. Moving on. Moving on. The next team that should stay the fuck out the kitchen, the Cincinnati Bengals.
What do you guys say about them?
All I'm going to say is this. Joe Burrow, as cool as he is, sometimes being cool, it's not the way to go.
But coach, it's Joe Shiesty.
It's not the way to go. My man's did a press conference and completely said, we're like 3-4. So, in order for us to kind of make the playoffs, we got 9 games left. So we gotta win like 7 of the next 9.
God.
That's doable. Where for you guys is winning 7 out of the next 9 games doable? The way that you guys have been playing all season.
And their division.
Look, Joe, whatever you smoking in Cincinnati, stop it. Stop it. Please. Put it down.
Yeah.
Put it down. Because, bro, you guys have been playing absolutely trash for the entirety of the season, especially your defense. Now, the offense is starting to slowly kind of turn things around, and then sometimes you still look like you're fading away. Obviously, we know that somebody is not happy there at your receiver position because he didn't get paid, which he rightfully deserved to get paid. So we know that there's a lot of internal turmoil that's going on. But, Joe, sometimes it's cool not to be cool. Sometimes it's okay to just kind of be like, let me be an authentic person and say, we're in a fucked up spot.
Yeah.
And we need to fix this fast before this season really, really gets away from us. And I'm not in the playoffs. We're not in the playoffs. It's another year that's wasted. And this team probably gets broken up like the Beatles. All right? Just Joe, just take my advice. Coming from somebody who's cool as the other side of the pillow on a winter night. All right? I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes it's not cool to be cool. Sometimes you just have to be authentic. Sometimes you have to tell the truth. And sometimes you have to look people in the eye when they're asking you questions and give an honest answer. 7 out of the next 9 is not doable.
No.
Not for you guys.
Not with the state. Not with the state.
Not with the state of the NFL and the way guys are playing and the way teams are put together and the way it seems like any night in football, a team can finally put it together and beat you, and then the next night they can go back to being the team that we thought they were. That's not what's going to happen, Joe. All right? You got any thoughts on that?
Nah, I mean, besides the fact, like, I think it is necessary to touch on that their defense is terrible.
Yeah, man.
Like really bad. So, like, even in games that the Bengals do put up points and the offense balls, they can't win those games because the defense can't do shit.
But that's why I said you can't just walk.
No, you can't be like 7-9 is doable. Like, what? That is not doable, man. I'm sorry, but you're not being realistic. Sorry, bud.
Ooh. All right. Now we know who's cooking and who should stay the fuck out the kitchen. Now it's time for the halftime report.
Yep.
All right. And, I wanted to talk about these two topics because I just kind of feel like these two organizations are headed similarly in the same direction, and they're both just kind of refusing to do it. Starting off with Philadelphia. Philadelphia just got fined by the league for the mishandling of information regarding Joel Embiid's health. The NBA clearly believes that the Philadelphia 76ers are just not playing Joel Embiid because of fear of him getting hurt and that he's not unhealthy. They're just trying to shelf him so that they can have him during what they would consider to be the prime time of the season. Right? And the NBA is not fond of that because prior to the season, of course, they slate games for Joel Embiid to be a part of for national coverage. Right. We're showing up for these games to see Joel Embiid play. So the NBA is not happy about this. But the bigger picture for me is that Philadelphia, I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Y'all window is gone. Don't trust the process no more. The process is dead. It's done.
There's no process.
It's completed. There's no process.
There's no more rendering.
There's no more rendering. It's not buffering. Your resolution is just bad. The picture is bad.
It's in 144p.
Probably worse than that. Let it go. Which is like my daughter's favorite song right now. Let it go. Let it go. because Joel Embiid can't stay healthy and is not the proper size for the way that this NBA is going. He can't get up and down the court at the speed and rate of the game. His knees are always going to give in because of the speed. And until he decides to lose some of the weight, he can't. It won't work. Now, if he loses some of the weight and it allows him to kind of fit the mold of what the modern day center needs to be, then Philadelphia still has a chance. But until I see that happening, you guys are just holding on to like bare bones of what you think could be a championship team. Joel Embiid, Paul George, who still can't stay healthy, even though he left the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
And you're pretty much just sitting there allowing Tyrese Maxey to kind of just maybe kind of Allen Iverson this situation. He's no Allen Iverson, but you got him in a situation where you just paid him. So, of course, he's out there. He got to play. He got to hoop. And this might really turn into a situation where Tyrese is the only thing going in Philadelphia for a while. Because I don't see this team that Daryl Morey has put together specifically for a championship run. I don't see them getting anywhere near it. Now, we're early in the season.
Right.
But the injury concerns, the way that you're planning to keep Joel Embiid from playing this game and that game, no back-to-backs and all this other stuff, how do you expect that team to have any type of chemistry, any type of consistency when it comes to the playoffs where guys have to know what other guys are going to do even before they do it, where nonverbal communication is more important than verbal communication in the playoffs? Like, how is that team going to have that if Joel Embiid is not playing, if Paul George is constantly in and out of the lineup, same as Joel Embiid? How are you going to develop that? You can't.
Right.
And Nick Nurse, I'm sure, is over there. You know, he's going to do what he has to do. He's going to say all the right things. He's going to try to pull the magic. But there's no magic to pull for this. So, yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on the 76ers. I don't know. Maybe you might see something a little bit different, Coach, but, I wanted to see what is your thoughts on the state of the Philadelphia 76ers right now?
So, I think health is a big thing over there.
Yeah.
As far as guys staying healthy. Joel Embiid, for the longest time now, has been, like, questionable every single fucking game he plays as far as his availability. Which is not a good thing, like, in one of probably the premier center in the NBA, right? I mean, you've got Jokic as well, but who's right behind him or number one? It's Embiid. You know what I mean? Like, Embiid and Jokic is the talk of the town for the center position. You know, a guy that won MVP. You know what I mean? It's like, you need to see these guys on these national televised games, and that's why the NBA launched that investigation. Like, it wasn't necessarily targeted at the 76ers. It was just, that is procedure for if a superstar misses a nationally televised game. All right, I think we do need to kind of clear out the air as far as, like, well, why that investigation was started. That's just procedure. Like, if one of the superstars on your team is missing a nationally televised game, the NBA launches an investigation as to why. Yeah. So, like, that's natural. It's like, I don't know why people.
Well, that's their new policy now because they have so much money invested in watch these games.
Yeah, and advertisement
and the network is buying these games. So they have to basically get back to their people that's paying for this, that they're making money with. They have to get back to their partners and say, hold on, before you get pissed, this player was actually unable to play.
Right.
But if you're going to cost us some money, we're going to fine you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. But I think, like, if this Philadelphia 76ers team can stay healthy, which I don't think they will, because Paul George has always got some injury problems. Yeah. Although last year he did play, like, a decent amount of the season compared to what he's played in the past. Embiid was also a guy that was in and out, didn't really, like, kind of play that often until the playoffs, and then he got hurt again.
Yeah.
But seeing him still out when he played the whole Olympics is fucking surprising to me. Like, I get it, it's the Olympics, you know what I mean? That was, like, the last dance for this generation of NBA players to play for Team USA. But how do you not come back and play for the season? I don't understand that. You don't play a single minute of preseason basketball. How the fuck do you think you're going to be ready for game one on opening day? Like, it doesn't add up to me if I'm the 76ers. So I think they need to turn this around fast because, like you said, their window is either very, very close to closing or it's closed.
Yeah. All right. So we agree on the Philadelphia 76ers. The next one, Giannis. I mean, I don't want to hold on too long on Giannis because there's still some wiggle room for things to kind of be recovered. But after losing to the Brooklyn Nets, this was his quote. Right now, we don't have an identity. That could be said for a lot of different things. That could be him targeting the coach, which sooner or later, Giannis might be considered a coach killer after a little while.
Very true.
I mean, we might have to start wondering if he's a coach killer in some facet. I'm not trying to put that on you, Giannis. I'm really not. But we're starting to see some things around Milwaukee that's starting to sound like if you're not happy, nobody's happy.
Seeming like a LeBron type of...
Kind of LeBron type of vibe, type of thing. But it's either the coaching that you have an issue with or your teammates that you're having an issue with, and specifically maybe one. In my original thought process when Milwaukee got Dame, I thought it was a beautiful thing originally until I started to evaluate Dame's game and I realized like, oh, he's similar to Kobe White in a way. Without the basketball in their hands, they're kind of left in limbo. Yes, they can catch and shoot. Yes, they can be good shooters. But a lot of their rhythm comes from having the ball.
Yeah.
And when they don't have the ball, they kind of get lost on offense. They kind of don't know exactly what to do, where to go, how to be, how to exist. And I think that is the issue in Milwaukee. Doc Rivers, if you notice, has been staggering a lot of the minutes between Giannis and Dame, which to me screams that these two haven't figured out how to play with one another.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either. And I think that is going to be what is going to keep this Milwaukee Bucks team from being what people think that they can be. Because if these two can't be on the court together, what was the purpose of the trade?
Right. And then, like, it's so important to know, like, when the Bucks won the championship, I mean, who did they have at point guard? They had
Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday, who facilitates and plays defense. You know what I mean? Who's not a scorer.
Who's an all-world defender, but he can score. He's not
exactly.
We don't classify him as a scorer. But the crazy thing about it is, if people do their homework, Drew Holiday was a bucket when he first got to Philadelphia. When he first got to Philly, drafted by them, he was a bucket. Mm-hmm. He was their superstar.
Yeah.
Now, he has been able to transition his game to be a very solid and great primetime role player, but don't get it twisted. If you really need him to go out there and get you 25, 26, he can do it.
He'll do it. No
the job
problem.
can get done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then, like, obviously Chris Middleton is such an important factor. Like,
yes.
I think people really undervalue the importance of Chris Middleton on that team because he also provides great defending and the ability to space the floor and to be able to create without the ball. You know what I mean? Like, he's able to come off of screens. He's able to screen for other guys. Like, it's not just him needing the ball to create like Damian Lillard. So I think that was, like, the beauty of that Milwaukee Bucks team when they won is the continuity between all the players and the movement of the ball. Like, it was, if there was anybody holding the ball, it was Giannis. And that's the guy you want holding the ball. You know what I mean? Like, that's the guy you're paying $60 million a year for.
Yeah.
That's the guy you want holding the ball, not Damian Lillard. You know what I mean? Like,
not really. But if you have them both, you got to figure it out. And I think this is showing signs of a player that before the trade deadline is going to make it known that he kind of wants he wants out.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Now, you know, I love the Lord and I hope the Lord loves me. I don't believe in Santa Claus, but if I did, I want Giannis for Christmas in Chicago. Pause. But I want Giannis for Christmas on the Bulls. That's all I want. I want other things too. But if you're hearing me, please let Arturas Karnisovas have a mindset of being able to get that deal done. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Amen.
Amen. But yeah, this showing signs of a guy who might get up out of here, who might get up out of Milwaukee.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
no doubt.
But moving on to what I know is going to be our favorite part today.
Yep.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. This wonderful Bears game, Coach.
Wonderful.
We have a clip, and I just want to play really, really fast. Eberflus just giving a little bit of feedback regarding that Hail Mary play, that infamous Hail Mary play that has everybody saying, sell everything in Chicago.
Yeah.
Just got to execute better.
Yeah, that second to last play before the Hail Mary, 13-yard strike, they get out of bounds in 2 seconds. Are you preparing that play for them to run some kind of shots to the end zone laterally, or is that something where how do you look back on that spot?
Yeah, because you're defending touchdown, right? You're defending touchdown there, and them throwing the ball for 13 yards or 10 yards, whatever that is, doesn't really matter. It's always going to come down to that last play. And it came down to a 2-second play to the last play, and we got to execute on that one.
Why don't you guys bring extra pressure?
All I'm going to say is I never want to get on. Well, let me take that back. I do enjoy this. I do enjoy getting on podcasts and telling people that they're fucking idiots. I don't like it all the time because I don't necessarily subscribe to waking up in the morning with negative energy and being mean.
Yeah.
But what a fucking moron. Dude, you can't say that giving up additional yards before somebody is able to pull off a Hail Mary play doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The football field is 100 yards. You allowed a Hail Mary play to go from a throw having to be 70 plus yards to about 51 to 55 yards, which a kid like Jaden Daniels has the arm to at least get it down the field halfway.
Yeah.
We see videos and all type of things in the offseason where you got quarterbacks who are on a knee throwing the ball, sometimes 70 yards, 80 yards. So you think that this kid can't throw the ball from the logo of the football field all the way down to the other side? Like, dude, you allowed Jaden Daniels to get in a much better position to throw a Hail Mary play that actually had a chance of getting by the end zone, right? If he threw that ball from 70 yards out, even if Noah Brown caught it, there's a chance that he could probably most likely get tackled.
Yeah.
Before getting into the end zone that quickly, because there's still this fumbling that he has to get the ball. So if guys recover fast enough, he could probably still get caught. But you allowed them to get closer. And then not to mention that Jaden Daniels is coming off a rib injury. So the likelihood of him being able to throw that ball really far from 70 yards out is even less likely because he's coming off a rib injury.
Dude, and you saw all game. Like, you saw certain passes just didn't have the sling that he usually has on it because the ribs are hurting.
No.
You know, like, it's common sense. It's common sense.
So my thing is, how moronic can you be as a head coach to sit there with a straight face in your presser and pretend like not giving up those yards prior to that Hail Mary played a role in that Hail Mary being effective? Like, yes, I get it. Everything does come down to the last play. We understand. That is true. That has some merit. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that doesn't have merit. But everything leading up to the last play matters as well, dumbass.
Yeah, no, and just to note, like, I wish we included this in one of our clips, but what's his fucking name? Dan Quinn?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Commanders head coach said the complete opposite about that play. He said you need that 13 to 15 yard pickup to get the ball down the field.
No, absolutely. Well, you definitely need it for Jaden Daniels, who's coming off a rib injury. That was required. Now, maybe without the injury, he probably could throw the ball 70 yards.
Maybe, but even then, it might still end up on like the 2 or 3 yard line.
Possibly, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it's completely different. And even the analysts during the game, when the Bears were in drop covers like that,
he's Tony Romo.
Yeah, he's like, expect the Commanders to go run like a 13 to 15 yard out route
and
get the ball out, and that's exactly what they did. So like, it's crazy to even consider that in Eberflus's mind, that play was so like apparently so unimportant. that only the Hail Mary in the like between those two plays was the important one is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like under like KYP, know your personnel, right?
Yeah.
We say all the time in basketball and football. Jaden Daniels is hurt. He can't throw the ball with as much sling and as much arm strength as he usually does because he's hurt.
Yep.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And then also, like, we'll get into it maybe, but like on both plays, only sending a 3-man rush and then having a QB spy, that don't make any sense at all. That don't make sense at all to me because you look at what has been working.
Rushing the quarterback.
Rushing the quarterback in a Hail Mary situation.
5-6 people blitzing.
It don't even have to be that. You could just rush 4 or 5 and you'll still get to them.
Don't give them time. If you just don't give them time to throw the Hail Mary, there is no Hail Mary.
And not only that, but people were saying like, oh, why wasn't Montez Sweat on the field, which I agree with, but he was kind of questionable that whole fourth quarter. He didn't really play that much because he got hurt. Where was Austin Booker? Where was Austin Booker on that play? A workhorse who's going to keep relentlessly try to get to the quarterback. Why wasn't there a timeout called? Like, these are the plays and these are the games that are going to get your ass fired. Like, that was all the talk throughout this whole week leading into our show today.
Yeah.
Was this is the 4th time now, or 5th, that Matt Eberflus has lost a game where the Bears had the probability of winning that game 92% at that time.
Yeah. And if we could get the Tyreek clip rolling picture in picture, because like I like I know that there are fans who are just like all over Tyreek Stevenson's ass about taunting and all of those different things and saying like he should have been not doing that stupid shit, like looking at fans and arguing with fans and stuff like that. Like, I know for sure that there are lots of fans who are mad about that play. But all I'm saying is this. He was already ready to go long before the ball got thrown. So, I know he ended up being the guy that tipped it, and that ended up being the situation. But I would have been more upset if the ball was already in the air and he's still pointing his finger and doing all this stupid shit, and then he just so happened to be like, oh, shit, the ball has already been thrown, and now he goes over there and run.
Can we run that clip back? Run that clip back? I just want to note something, like the first 5 seconds. Yeah. Watch when he turns around. Look how many yards they are down the field. That's 30 yards down the field, and then he starts running. 30!
Yeah, I get that. No,
and I understand that he still gets back to the ball.
Yeah.
But if Matt Eberflus was telling the truth, and his assignment was to box out Noah Brown, he was nowhere in the vicinity to do that or capable to do that because he was running from the other side of the field, decided to stay on that side of the field to see what Jaden Daniels is doing because, he started rolling out to the right side, which is the right play.
Yeah.
But if he was supposed to not box out Noah Brown was nowhere on that side of the field. Look where Noah Brown is.
Noah Brown is in the middle, right? Noah Brown is in the middle of all of that fracas. But what I'm saying is that Tyreek, if you're looking, right, they're coming down the field, boom, boom, boom. Now, they all start to run middle.
How are you on the 15-yard line and then you start running?
I get that, Coach. But look, as it continues to go, they're all going to the middle. Look, they're all going to, we're going to get it as soon as it pans over. They're all in the middle. Tyreek is there. Everybody's in the middle. Everybody's in the middle. Everybody's in the middle. Everybody's in the middle. All the receivers, everybody's in the middle.
No,
so my point is this. All I'm saying is this. If you're saying that his job was to follow Noah Brown, then we're wrong because that's not what he was supposed to do.
No, but he was supposed to box him out, and Noah Brown was never on that side of the field. He was in the middle, and Tyreek Stevenson was sitting on the left side of the field.
He was sitting on the left side while they were running down the field, Coach.
They were already on the 15-yard line in the middle of the field.
What I'm saying is, as they're running down, he's on the left side. But way before the ball is thrown, he's in the play. He's in the action.
But he's walking. He doesn't see what's actually going on until he starts running to the other side of the field.
No, he sees what's going on prior to this. Look, watch.
Look, he turns around, and now he's analyzing.
Right, so now he sees. So you can't say he doesn't see now. He sees what's happening.
Where's Noah Brown?
I can't even see his jersey number. Right.
He's not there. He's on the other side of the field.
Okay, but this is my point. He was not supposed to ball hawk Noah Brown.
No, I agree. Okay, yeah, keep running it. Watch. receivers move to the left side. He's still on the E of the commander symbol when
That's
everybody
fine.
else is almost already on the O.
Okay, now keep playing. The ball isn't thrown yet.
Like, he should not be there. Why is he going for the ball? He didn't do his assignment is what the point is. And it's because he wasn't ready to defend that play.
Time out. We're saying that post because Eberflus is now putting the blame on Tyreek Stevenson and saying that, oh, yeah, it was his job to box out Noah Brown. We don't know that as a fact.
No, I don't. I'm saying, like I said, if Eberflus is telling the truth.
And I don't think Eberflus is telling the truth. I think he's covering his ass at CYA.
Sure.
If you know that this kid is already taking the hit because he was waving his fucking finger around, it's easy to blame him now and say, oh, you know what? Oh, yeah, he was supposed to block out that guy and he was supposed to box him out and all this other shit. Yeah, it's easy to throw the blame on him because now everybody can be like, fuck yeah, fucking idiot was fucking waving his finger. He was supposed to, but that's not how this. That we don't know that as a fact.
No,
I'm saying that he's a fucking Eberflus is a fucking idiot, and he's the one who decided to do that shit. And now because he looks like a fucking idiot, it's past the idiot buck. Okay, well I can't be the only idiot. He's the idiot. If he would have just done his job and not waved his finger, we would have been okay. But I don't believe that shit.
No, I agree. But you know what I think should have happened instead?
What? Oh yeah, timeout. Time out. You see your player down there being stupid as shit. You should have called the timeout.
He is paying attention to the wrong things. That's
what I'm saying.
I'm not saying Tyreek. I'm saying Eberflus.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, Eberflus. You see your player down there waving their fucking finger, doing all this stupid shit prior to the play. You call timeout. Mike Tomlin calls a timeout, and he chews that player out and goes,
exactly.
"What the fuck are you doing?"
And even that, like, it's like. It's not like the Bears had one timeout. They had all three timeouts left.
That's what I'm saying.
They could have called it on the play where they're making that 13. Like, you see the formation they're in. They weren't in trips. They weren't in Hail Mary formation.
And
call timeout. Let's set up a different coverage.
And that's what I mean. That's what I mean by like. It's easy. That's what I mean by he's covering his ass.
Yeah.
He's passing the blame because it's easy to put the blame on Tyree Stevenson right now. But I want to quickly talk about Jaden Daniels because we could talk so much about this Bears game and the fact that the defense played well all up until they didn't. The offense played poor all the way up until it didn't.
Yep.
Caleb Williams got outplayed by Jaden Daniels. I don't give a shit what anybody wants to say. I don't care what anybody feels.
No.
I've said since day one that I wanted Jaden Daniels to be the quarterback that we drafted since we got rid of Justin Fields. I still firmly stand 10 toes down that this team would be much better off had it kept the weapons, got the weapons that it got, and tried to improve the offensive line with those picks and kept Justin Fields. We would have been much better off. I still believe that. And I also believe that if we had Jaden Daniels, we win this game. With the defense that we got, we win this game, and we wouldn't be 4-3.
No.
I believe that we would be top in our division, or at least right behind Detroit. That's my opinion. That's my feelings.
I disagree.
But you disagree. But what I will say is this: Jaden Daniels has sewn up the Rookie of the Year conversation.
Yeah,
there is no more Caleb in the Rookie of the Year conversation. That shit is over with, completely over with. So I don't want to hear anybody else having conversations between the dynamics of Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels. There is no versus no more. It's Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams is in the backseat. Now, unless something happens dramatically to the Commanders where they completely fall off the cliff, that's the only way Caleb Williams has a chance to come back in this conversation.
Watch next year when Cliff Kingsbury takes a head coaching job elsewhere and he gets a new offensive coordinator. Watch what happens to that team because the way that they're using their weapons now is literally the best run offense in the NFL. He's gotten gifted with like one of the best offensive-minded coaches that you could possibly have.
I'm not saying he didn't. But that still doesn't take away from his ability.
It doesn't take away from his ability, but you can't just say you plant him in Chicago and he does the same exact shit. No fucking way. Shot.
I will say that we win more games than what we won now.
No fucking way.
I bet we do.
No fucking way.
I guarantee it.
I guarantee you in that game.
You think we lose to the Tennessee Titans with this guy?
We won against the Tennessee Titans.
The Indianapolis coach. You think we lose with him as the quarterback?
With the way the offense
you think we answer the question?
Yes.
You get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Now you're Caleb Williams glazing.
You're glazing. I ain't even glazing. Like
yes, you are.
That's the thing.
You are.
I don't think you could insert any quarterback into that situation and they win that fucking game.
Against the Colts, yes, the fuck you can. First of all, he's just a better quarterback than Caleb. I don't give a shit what anybody feels. He's more accurate.
We'll fucking
he's
see.
more accurate. His deep ball is better. Pause. And he's more powerful. And he's a more powerful thrower. And he can hit all levels. Caleb Williams is a glorified dink and dunker.
That's bullshit.
And every now and then he can occasionally hit a cross route.
A deep ball pass
is not Caleb Williams' game. He is not dynamic and he is not as powerful as Jaden Daniels.
Because
he is not.
That's bullshit.
He's not.
That's bullshit because look at the statistics. Look at the passing chart on where Jaden Daniels is throwing his balls. You'll see it's all inside 15 yards. And he'll make
it's not all.
Not all. Obviously not all. I'm fucking exaggerating, but like
where's Caleb Williams? Is it not mostly inside too to the tight end and to the running back?
It is spread. His
a spread too, all the way around.
My ass.
Oh, anyway.
My ass.
Oh my God. I can't believe this.
Here's it's good that we're having the conversation, and like I wish that we could appreciate that both of these quarterbacks are gonna be great. And me personally,
one is going to be great. The other one is going to be good.
No, I think they're both going to be great. I think this is going to be a conversation that's going to happen for 10 plus years.
But moving on, because I mean, we could do this all day.
This could be a whole podcast in and of itself.
And we're going to have it.
We're
going to have it. But the Bears remain in schedule. We're basically playing division opponents. We have Arizona. I believe we have is it Seattle?
Well, the week after that?
Yeah.
No, it's
San Francisco and Seattle. I'm not saying all in a row, but we have our division.
Yeah.
We have our division opponents left, and we have Arizona, Seattle, and San Francisco. This only gets hard, Coach.
Yeah.
It only gets harder.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest part of our schedule is over with. It's done.
We still got 2 more games, but after that, it's over.
It's over with.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I don't know what the Bears are going to be. I know everybody had high hopes, and I know the reason why the Bears most likely won't make a trade is due to this Washington Commanders loss. So all the hopes of us putting together this dream team and getting the defense stout, probably getting Myles Garrett, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Maybe we go get an offensive lineman, maybe we don't. But I think a big part of the reason why we may not do any of this is because we already lost to Washington. So the luster of this season becoming something greater than what it's going to be is probably out the window. This Super Bowl potentiality, this whole maybe winning the NFC North, maybe getting to the NFC Championship, that shit is out the window. Unless all of a sudden Detroit stops being Detroit, Minnesota stops being Minnesota, and Jordan Love is out for the rest of the season.
The only thing I see realistically happening
maybe we squeeze in as a wild card.
That, and then I think Detroit. Detroit's going to keep being Detroit, no doubt. But I think Minnesota's going to fall off a cliff very soon here because I don't think Sam Darnold can sustain
keep it up. Yeah,
and I think if Jordan Love is out for a sizable time, there's no way they're going to find a way to keep winning games with Malik Willis. That's just me personally.
I agree. All right, let's get into our predictions.
Yes.
Let's get into our predictions.
Let's do that.
We got a little heated for a moment. Houston
it's all love, though. It's all love.
Yeah, it is. Houston and the Jets. I got Houston. Even though Stephon Diggs, who we didn't mention, is out for the season.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to free up Houston because I think C.J. Stroud has been trying to force things to Stephon because that's his newest acquisition, and this is the first time CJ has actually had to deal with in the NFL having a real superstar wide receiver and what that feels like, what that comes with.
Yeah.
Now he can go back to just spreading the ball, giving Tank the ball when seeing fit, getting it to the tight end. So I think this will help open up CJ Stroud, which will then create questions about the impact of Stephon Diggs and whether or not he's just too much of a diva.
Yeah, I think the Jets go 2-7 here.
Yeah, me too. Saints, Carolina.
Saints.
I got the Saints. Washington and New York. I got Washington. Buffalo, Miami. I got Buffalo. Chargers, Cleveland. I'm going with an upset. I got Cleveland. I'm running with Jameis.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
Okay. Tennessee, New England. I'm going to Tennessee.
Oh, I'll go New England. Why not?
I think Drake May still hurt. But why not? Dallas and Falcons. Who cares? But I'm gonna go Falcons.
I'll go Dallas.
Okay. Raiders, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
I got Cincinnati. Broncos, Baltimore.
That's gonna be a good game.
That is. Bo Nix is on a heater.
Yeah.
But I want to see him be consistent before I give him the glory of saying he's cooking. But I got Baltimore for that one.
Which by the way, great trade picking up Deontay Johnson, but I don't think that's what they needed. I think they could have just used
more defensive help.
More defense. But yeah, Baltimore got
I got Baltimore. Chicago, Arizona. I got Chicago.
We better win that game. We need to. We need to win our next two.
But I'll say this:
anything
I would not be surprised if we lose to Arizona.
I could see that happening
because Arizona has a quarterback. So Caleb Williams.
Don't say that.
Caleb Williams hasn't shown that he can beat top tier quarterbacks. Just saying. Jacksonville versus Philadelphia. Philly. Rams versus Seattle. I got Seattle too. Detroit versus Green Bay. Detroit.
That's the game of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I got Detroit. If Jordan Love isn't coming back to play, I got Detroit. And probably even if Jordan Love played, I still got Detroit.
Right, yeah.
Indianapolis, Minnesota. I got Minnesota. Tampa Bay, Kansas City. Kansas City. I'm not going against them.
Kansas City 8-0, huh?
Yeah, I you got to beat them for me to believe it.
Yeah.
All right, we want to remind you guys that the sweepstakes is still going. So this week we play the Arizona Cardinals. You guys know what you have to do. You have to tag us in the video. You have to post it to your Instagram story. You have to be following both our Instagram and our YouTube. And in order to win the money, you have to guess the accurate score of what the game is at halftime between the Bears and the Arizona Cardinals. Again, you have to be following our Instagram. You have to be following our YouTube. You have to have the accurate score at halftime for the game between the Bears and the Arizona Cardinals. You have to post it to your story, and you got to tag us in it. Tag us in it, baby. How we gonna see it?
Right.
How we gonna see it if you don't tag us in it? But as always, it's been Coach M.
It's been Coach Konrad.
And as always, it's C-Red. It's Bear Down, baby.
Let's go.
Jaden Daniels is still better than Caleb, just on the way out.
Oh, man.